What's up, fanatics? Welcome to part 2 of my most wanted Marvel Legends of 2022.
Let's pick up where we left off.
I know you've been on pins and needles to see my continued wish lists for Build-A-Figures, Deluxe Releases, box sets, army builders, a full themed wave, and what should be the next HasLab project. Well, wait no longer, because I am back.
Still got the moves.
And this is Fanatic Now. I've already told you the top 10 standard releases I want to see this year, and now this is my top 10 of everything else. I'll let you know how I imagine them being released, and we'll see if my favorite 3 Hasbro Amigos will let me free them from their plastic prison. So let's get right into it. Starting off with my remake of the year, at number 10, Stryfe. You already know how much I love Cable, and I want a proper remake of him with better scaling, better articulation, and honestly, a full redesign to get that classic blue and gold look. Well, you can't have a new Cable without his villainous clone Stryfe. We received our one and only Stryfe figure back in 2014 with that Toys R Us Jubilee BaF wave. I remember getting about 5 sets of that wave.
And to beat an old lady with a stick.
And coming back to Facebook Legends group like,
Still got the moves.
you're welcome for the hookups, because I think that wave is going for what, like $1,000 right now? Stryfe is going for $200 alone. He could definitely be made better, and that's what I hope happens, because he could be made a little taller, and the last release had horrible marbling, which isn't normally a big complaint from me, but that helmet was really bad. So he could use some better paint this time. That Ultron paint job proved Hasbro knows how to do it. However, I was really happy with him, but it's been almost 8 years, and a lot of people missed out.
I missed the part with that. It's my problem, sir.
So, even if it's on that same Hyperion body mold, but with better paint, maybe an unmasked head that works for both him and a new Cable, I mean, come on. I'm starting out with a softball pitch. Make it happen. Next up, we have my Army Builder of the Year. At number 9, Noel's Symbiote Minions. I love these little bastards, and this is another easy one for Hasbro, but I would buy it. Take most of that Carnage release with that spiral symboled head and just mix it up a bit. Give me a 2-pack like you've done with recent Army Builders, where you've been giving us the 2 figures, maybe some head swaps and switchable parts instead of weapons. If you gave me 1 black with red highlights and 1 red with black highlights, I'm doing the math here.
You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
And I'd have to buy at least 3 sets. You have to do this because you're releasing Noel. We're getting a Noel. I'm usually in favor of classic releases, but Donny Cates is killing it the past few years in creating massive first appearances for Marvel Comics. If Hasbro's giving me a Noel, they better either give me a throne or some symbiote minions to accompany him. Between my mention of loving Donny Cates and the need for a throne, I hope you're wearing your thinking cap, because this is called foreshadowing. Next, we have my 3-pack of the year. At number 8, the Spider Women. That's right, I want Hasbro to give us an all-female release. Don't cheat and pack 2 unwanteds around a Peter Parker. You have so many amazing choices that are either in desperate need of a redesign. I'm looking at you, classic Spider-Woman. Your last release looked decent, but couldn't pose for shit. And we definitely need some amazing articulation this time. And we have multiple options for a re-release that you could throw in there with just a little changes, just because they were really sought after. We have Silk, who was very popular and brings Asian representation, but could definitely be remade a little bit better this time, and pretty easily. You also have the hugely popular Spider-Gwen. that Into the Spider-Verse release really worked out for you. So just change it up a bit and throw it in there for some money savings, but make the changes worthwhile and modern comic accurate. Hell, you could even redo Spider-Girl. Either one of them. You could give us another Anya Corazon, which was a pretty badass figure for its time.
There's someone else.
Or another Mayday Parker, daughter of Peter Parker. There were plenty of cool things about these figures, but you have female pinless double jointed elbows now, better hips, better knees, better feet, better paint. You could make this for cheap, and it still be amazing. And lastly, give us someone that we've never gotten. Give us Aunt May.
There you go.
Oh, thank you.
No, I'm not kidding.
Yeah, great. I really love her.
You could literally give us the cute old lady in figure form and we would have to have her on our shelves to complete the Spidey collection. I know Hasbro wants to be able to reuse parts, and while I realize that there aren't many old lady superheroes, you actually could possibly reuse some of that Aunt May when you finally give us a Madam Web. Oh shit, I should have put Madam Web on the list. That would have been
So good.
Yeah, forget about the 3-pack. Give us Madam Web. Now I'll get into deluxe or Build-A-Figure releases. At number 7, Gorr the God Butcher. Here we go with a release I'm quite positive we're getting this year. Gorr is being portrayed by the amazing Christian Bale in the upcoming Thor Love and Thunder movie, so we would definitely be getting a Thor wave. If I were a betting man, I'd say that we'll be getting an MCU Gorr. Without seeing their final character design, I can't say whether this guy will fit in with the comics. But if the past is any indication, I assume that Hasbro will look me in the face and say,
I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.
so, while I don't expect a comic accurate release, I have a case for why we need him. First, he's a really badass character, and if you haven't read any of his comics, then I am confiscating your Fanatic card right now. You can have it back when you're done with your homework. Secondly, I'm a strong believer in the unspoken rule that if we get an MCU version, a comic figure should have already been made. And lastly, you already have most of the tooling. It just needs to be reworked a little bit. And it'll be worth it because you need to give him a head swap so that he can be hooded or uncloaked. We have to have lots of accessories, which is why I didn't list him as a standard release. He needs swappable arms so that he can not only be holding the all black or not, but also have arms that are fused with the all black. He needs to have great articulation, and butterfly shoulders would be awesome. But as long as you pack lots of other goodies, I'll probably be a happy camper. With another deluxe or Build-A-Figure release, at number 6, Black Winter. Here we go with some of those Donny Cates hints from earlier.
I'm really gonna enjoy this.
And yet another case of Hasbro being able to reuse some old body molds. Remember that awesome SDCC Thor we got? And well, he was also part of a standard release. Well, it could be done better by today's standards, but there are plenty of great things about that design. With Black Winter, you could get away with some of that. This is a character that we will never get in its true form. Galactus was his herald. Yeah, he's that formidable and huge. But it made massive splashes in the Donny Cates comic Thor number 5 when it manifested itself in an evil looking form of Thor, Dark Thor. I love this character design and his badass presence. Seriously, if I finish this and you aren't on the way to your local comic store to grab some Donny Cates issues, I'll never forgive you.
You want forgiveness or religion?
We would need new, longer hair, some small outfit and armor changes, but mostly, this is just a repainted Thor figure. He'd need to be really well done, with lots of accessories, so that's why I have him as a deluxe release. His fluid state of appearance gives you so many options, from transparent plastic to dark menacing paint apps. Regardless, let's make it happen. My next deluxe or Build-A-Figure release, at number 5, Dragon Man. No more softball pitches. This is a deluxe line and we are willing to pay more for it. So, unlike the previous mentions that could pull 35 bones a pop, here's a $50 release for you. You crushed it with MODOK and Surtur last year at the same price point. Now, give us the Dragon Man we deserve. I realized that Hasbro could simply re-release their existing Dragon Man again and strut to the bank. That bitch is pulling hundreds and hundreds of dollars on the aftermarket. I'm not gonna lie, I'm quite jealous that it's one of the few Marvel Legends that I have never owned. You could give him a simple repaint and sell out pre-orders in minutes.
Brilliant but lazy.
But we deserve better. And while you'd have our money, we would talk shit about you. He needs to be much larger, and with joints that represent the current tooling you use. The paint apps could be so much more amazing. You've finally started to give us some Fantastic Four villains, and you have so many more that have never been made. But all Marvel Legend collectors would rejoice in a sweet Dragon Man remake. I've got one more deluxe or Build-A-Figure. At number 4, Mephisto. You're goddamn right I wasn't making it through this list without mentioning one of my most wanted figures from Hasbro. Long before WandaVision set the casuals ablaze on the Mephisto watch, I have been desperately wanting this little devil. Every year since I missed out on that Marvel Select version, I have eagerly awaited the Legends announcement. Every year, I just knew it was coming, with cleaner paint apps and better articulation, and every year I'm disappointed and thinking,
But you can't do this to me.
Hasbro, it's time. You finally have the whole world waiting for the guy. He's small enough for a single release considering he doesn't have many accessories, but you need your money, and we're willing to pay if it's done well. So let's make it a deluxe. Charge me the $50, but give me some fire effects and give me a damn throne. And I swear to God, he better be posable enough to sit in it like a badass. This character is just too important for you to keep putting off, and it's only a matter of time before he's finally in the MCU. So let's get ahead of that release and get the comic accurate figure now. Next, we have my 5-pack box set. At number 3, The Wrecking Crew. I expect that we will continue to get 5-packs, and they'll probably keep being Amazon exclusives, like the Children of Thanos or the Wolverine set. Now, I'm a big fan because I usually get those on clearance towards the end of the year, cheap. But for this pick, I tried to think of a 5-pack that I'd want so bad, I couldn't wait for the discount. And here we are. Give me Wrecker. Give me Pile Driver, give me Thunderball, and give me Bulldozer. Now, to Hasbro's credit, they have made every one of these characters before, but they don't match well as they were from very different eras. And they could all be done better today, and some of them are really difficult to find at a decent price. I'm smart enough to know that that's a formula for a remake.
Intelligence is not a privilege, it's a gift.
Now, we need a 5th figure to complete this 5-pack. So, it should be a superhero. The crew has fought against just about everyone, so you could take your pick. But I have a suggestion. Give us another Spider-Man. I know that you just gave us the retro Spidey less than 2 years ago, and the world is still in love with him. But that release came with 2 head sculpts, one in honor of Ditko, and the other one in honor of Romita Sr. Both were cool, so if you wanted to go cheap, give us that same body mold, but this time with a Todd McFarlane mask design. Give us those big white eyes that everyone loved from the Toy Biz days. Think about it. You've proven that there are no limits to the amount of Spideys you'll make. And more importantly, the retro carded one is already expensive on the aftermarket, so people have to pick and choose which head design they're going to use if they're lucky enough to only find one of those. This would give everyone this body mold one more time with a 3rd head option. That's easy, and it would sell. Throw some web accessories in there for battle scenes. I really want pinless elbows and better hips, which should already be making for Spidey figures, but I'm not getting my hopes up just yet. We move on to my full wave. At number 2, the Young Avengers. If you've been paying attention to what the MCU is doing, you already know that they are quietly introducing us to the Young Avengers. Well, maybe not so quietly. We've seen 6 of them already, plus another 2 in trailers for upcoming projects, and we know about the casting of a 9th potential member. The on-screen team-up is happening, and my guess is that it'll be on a Disney Plus series. We've already gotten previews of America Chavez and Kate Bishop for upcoming Marvel Legends, but that's MCU figures, so I'm not counting it. I am going to count the Ironheart release from 2021 though, so there's no need for her. That figure was amazing. Every time I look at it, I'm like,
This is something else.
let's go ahead and get a 7 or 8 case release of comic figures. And my suggestions would be Kate Bishop's Hawkeye and Miss America in comic form, the Scarlet Witch Boys Speed and Wiccan, also Eli Bradley's Patriot. Then we gotta have Iron Lad. And of course, Hulkling. A better made Miss Marvel could definitely be thrown in there as well, but they've made multiples of her, so I'll suggest that one as a bonus. Now, we're missing a core comic member who we already have in the MCU, but I saved her for last because she should be the Build-A-Figure. Cassie Lang as Stature. We can get her in later years as Stinger, because for now, I want to build a figure at least as big as what Hasbro did for Scott Lang's MCU Giant Man. And finally, my HasLab project. At number 1, Apocalypse and his 4 horsemen. There's been a ton of speculation and debate over what Hasbro should do for their next Marvel Legends HasLab project. Many people want a newer, bigger, better Fin Fang Foom, and I would be all about that. But that's too easy, so I didn't want to go with him, especially since many people find the name racist these days. Brighton's prediction is Devil Dinosaur with Moon Girl, and I would love that as well. But I wanted to throw something different out there. You see, I love my HasLab Sentinels, and I can't wait for the Galacti? But those are so massive that I feel like we need a size break. Let's scale it down a bit so that everyone can fit this one on the shelf. But it needs to be so awesome that we won't be able to stop posing them and taking pictures. So I finally settled on a large, highly detailed Apocalypse. He certainly doesn't need to be nowhere near on the same scale as the HasLab projects that we've been getting the last few years, but he can't be the same size as Hasbro's Build-A-Figure either. He doesn't even have to be as tall as the Build-A-Figure we got for the Toy Biz Apocalypse. But that's closer to what I'm talking about here. Apocalypse can change to any size, and I'm thinking 14 to 16 inches, but much bulkier than the Toy Biz one, and with so much more detail and attention to paint apps. Then, give us his 4 horsemen with horses, already packed into a huge box. Competitors such as Mythic Legions are gaining lots of traction these days, and this could be your one chance to show off just how great you can be when you try. So, don't make the horses and horsemen tiers unless you're willing to start the bidding very low. You should be thinking of giving our wallets a slight rest this time, but I understand that this is your one huge project of the year. So, instead of one massive figure, give us that large menacing Apocalypse and his 4 horsemen as the greatest set you've ever released. The tiers could be more modern 4 horsemen like Wolverine, Gambit, Magneto, or a repaint of Archangel, combining the newer body mold with the paint scheme of the SDCC figure. Other tier suggestions would be different head swaps, as well as different arms, so the Apocalypse could have huge weapons as arms. I realize this, as well as many other things I've mentioned, are highly unlikely.
Trying to do better. I've been reading poetry lately.
But it's my list, and these are my picks. But I want to hear from you guys. Comment below, who do you want to see made in Marvel Legends form? Get creative and think big, because these aren't standard release single packs that we're talking about. The comments really help the channel grow, and since my last few Marvel Legends videos are my most popular yet,
They love me.
I really want to keep the momentum going. What should I talk about next? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I'll link part 1 of the video here in case you missed it. And sincerely, thanks for all the support for these videos because they really do take a lot of work.
My back. Oh,
Later, fanatics.